So can you show us with the 3D model what the MCL is and what are the symptoms that can cause it and the difference between that and ACL?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that people talk about is Aaron Rodgers hurt his MCL, hurt the inside of his knee, supposedly. I mean, sometimes these media reports aren't necessarily totally correct, or not totally telling what happens, but the MCL is basically a ligament that goes on the inside part of your knee. This model is actually knee because it has both knees in it, so you know, you can see it here. It's a relatively thick ligament that's on the inside part of the knee and basically keeps your knee from bending this way. So you don't go, you don't go knock-kneed, you know, that ligament keeps you from doing that.
But are the symptoms the same for an ACL and MCL?
They're similar in a way. You know, you definitely get pain. Usually an MCL injury, if it's an isolated MCL injury, you don't get the same amount of swelling inside the joint because it's actually, for the most part, it's outside the joint, whereas the ACL is inside the joint. So if that gets cut or torn or whatever, it bleeds, and so the whole knee swells up. If you tear your MCL, you typically don't have that same kind of reaction. At the same time, the blood supply to the MCL is fantastic. So you'll see athletes who have MCL tears, they typically don't need surgery. Sometimes they do, of course, if you've torn it completely. But most of these injuries are kind of grade 1, grade 2 injuries, and they can be treated with a brace if there's any instability. You can treat it with a brace just to protect the athlete when they're out playing too. So I won't, you know, it's one of those funny things. I'm not sure if, like, say, Aaron Rodgers will show up in a brace this week because, on the other hand, a quarterback needs to be mobile, and sometimes those braces will hold them back. Be curious to see what he comes out at next week, but yeah, hopefully he'll get better soon.